difference that makes the difference. And that last panel kind of highlighted in a number of different ways the difference that makes the difference for you and your business. And the real, like, electric point, there were a lot of electric points, but the flashing one was being authentic. So COVID has given us an opportunity to do a big reset. And we may not have wanted a reset, but we got a reset. And I'm a professional speaker. I've been a speaker for 35 years. I'm a physio with psychology, blah, blah, blah. But I've been a speaker for 35 years. This is the longest I've ever slept in my own bed, for 35 years. So I don't know what's been happening with your business, but mine is completely transformed. And I was sharing with the team here, who are awesome, that I have a studio in my house that's actually in my office. So Mel and I sit in like 8 inches of the office, and we have a sheet up against the window, but I've got a camera and I've got lights, and I did a live presentation this morning to the States in bare feet, so that was a plus. And I had to, I want to be able to use the word that's on everybody's lips right now. I have pivoted my business. And if you want to vomit at the sound of the word pivot, then join me, because Pauline, who was speaking in the session beforehand, was talking about how we're all sick of the word pivot. Stop saying pivot. Nobody wants to pivot anymore. Nobody wanted to pivot in the first place. And even though we've got COVID happening, the truth is all it's done is reactivated our human potential. We've been separated, disconnected, we've been filled with fear, we've had all these things happen which destroy humanity. And all of us in small businesses will succeed when we become more authentic, more real, and we just touch people's hearts, connect with people again. That's why this whole event is so important. You're learning how to connect with people digitally, but we've also got to remember we're humans. And what was his name? Oh, Oliver Wendell Holmes said, "Who you are shouts so loudly, I can't hear what you say." Who you are shouts so loudly, I can't hear what you say. And in the last 6 months, so hands up, I am 66, a lot of sixes happening right now. And you know, like, I'm old to be in the speaking world, but I have a lot of energy. And in the last 6 months, no, scrap that. The last 6 months have been COVID. The 6 months before that, I doubled my income, doubled. I didn't do a shred of digital marketing or anything that required something digitally, which I found fascinating, because I do a lot of that. Sonia's a great friend of mine, and she's like the genius of everything and has helped me a lot. But that didn't double my business. What doubled my business when I looked back on it was that I became more authentic. And you don't know me from Adam, and you wouldn't know what I've been speaking about, but I've been speaking about joy forever. And I wasn't planning on sharing this story with you, but it's coming out, so I will. And I've always worked on myself. From 21, I remember reading Wayne Dyer's book, Your Erroneous Zones, not erogenous, erroneous. And ever since then, I've worked on myself. And I've prided myself on being really authentic on stage. Because 35 years ago when I started speaking, I didn't even know you could be a speaker. I was a physio. And somebody introduced me asked me to speak at a conference and said, "You should be a speaker." I said, "What's a speaker?" And I entered the world of speaking. And in the first few years, I met lots of different people, and they would be one person on stage and completely different off stage. They'd be like happy, super people here and then depressed hulks over here. And I vowed I would never do that. So roll on a few years, and my first mentor, Michael Grinder, said to me one day, "You know you're a different person on stage from off stage." And he might have stabbed me in the heart, because it was the single worst thing he could have said. So I'm like, right, well, I'm changing that. So you know what I did? The persona that used to be on stage transformed into Amanda. Now, did I know this? No. Did I have an awareness of it? No. Was I dumb? Yes. It took me until I was 60, and when I met a man called David Martin. So have a look at davidmartin.world. He's extraordinary. And I've dived deeper than I ever have before. And this is not going to be my life journey in case you're thinking you need gin now or a cocktail. I'll shorten it a bit, but it's got the principles in it. Because I didn't know my business had doubled. Yes, I know I'm not a very good business person, but I've done pretty well for a long time, not focusing necessarily on the money. And it wasn't until we happened to look at the books at the beginning of COVID, being a little worried, that I went, Struth, I said something else, but Struth, for the Americans that's an Aussie word meaning gosh, and Struth, I doubled my income. And the only thing I had done differently was to try to get rid of the persona and become me again. But because I hadn't been me for such a long time, I actually didn't know what me was. Now, I know that's going to sound pathetic, and I've written a book on joy, but for about, 15 years ago, and for 15 years, I knew I was a fraud. Somewhere deep inside, I was in a miserable marriage, lovely guy, but we should never have got married, and so many things in my life were not right. Who you are shouts so loudly, I can't hear what you say. Who are you? Look deeply at who you really are and what really matters to you. This is going to get larger in a minute, okay? But just keep breathing through this bit. Because we are talking about the big reset. And the B stands for, one of the B's, stands for B-T-H-E. What do you think it is? Yes, it is breathe. I don't know how many of you are good at hangman. This is a new pen. It's nice, isn't it? Can you see it? Oh, yeah, you can see it. Anyway, so being authentic will transform everything that you do. And Pauline was saying the same thing, like, don't use fancy-wancy language if you're talking to humans, because, hello, unless you live in another planet, we're all humans, and we live for connection. We live to have our hearts connected to other people. We're social animals. We're not meant to be kept 1.5 meters apart. We're not meant to be isolated in small cubby holes with masks everywhere so you can't see a face. And I understand, before anybody gets hysterical, that there are some places where we have to do it, but we're not meant to. So how can you connect with people's hearts? How can you connect with compassion to others? And like Pauline was saying, don't say we care about you in a random email to somebody you've never emailed before and go, ding, we're not making money in other areas, but we really care about you, so could you just spend some money with us right now? No, be real. The more real you are with your business, the more real you are with what you write, everything else will change, and you too could double your income. I'm going to find another way to double my income now I'm being really authentic. I'm not sure what that will be, but I'll find something. Because that leads me to the other concept that I want to underpin with today's presentation. And that's from Alvin Toffler, the great futurist, who said, intelligence in the future will not be measured by the ability to read and write. Intelligence in the future will be measured by the ability to learn, unlearn, and relearn. And everybody, you know, goes around going, yeah, but we learned that. There's all this scientific stuff, and we learned. You've learned something. But what you've learned is just what you've learned. It doesn't mean it's right. How long did people go thinking the earth was flat? No, don't go over there, you'll fall off and die. And then one day somebody goes in a ship and comes back. And they go, ooh, how'd he get back? Well, the earth's not flat. So then everything changes because now the earth's not flat. So what we're doing now, and let's put things in perspective and choose to focus on the things that can help us make a difference. Choose to focus on what really matters. What's the difference that makes the difference? In this big reset, this is a wonderful opportunity for us to unlearn stuff that we've taught ourselves or we've learned from other people, and then relearn the stuff that really matters. Relearn who you really are. And then the third thing that I'd like to touch on is Michael Gerber wrote a book called The E-Myth, and it stands for the entrepreneurial myth. And basically he says that most entrepreneurs fail because they're so busy working in their businesses, they don't take time out to work on their businesses. Well, I want to turn it around a little bit. I think most people don't fully live because they're too busy running around like chooks without heads on, that's chickens without heads on for Americans, or any other country, in their lives. and they don't take time out to work on their lives. And people mostly live in themselves. They got no clue about themselves. They're totally unconscious, and they never work on themselves unless, of course, some mega crisis occurs. And you know, most people wait in life for a divorce or a tragedy or somebody to do something terrible until they look at themselves. And who's the common denominator in your whole life? In every single experience in your life? Who would that be? Now, wait, let me think. Oh, that would be you. We are the ones who are creating our lives, and it is the essence of you that transforms everything. So, quick, before I keep talking. Oh, by the way, go to amandagore.com/secret, and there's a lot of this stuff and extra freebie bits that you can use. And feel free to share and teach to your family as well. So if any of you are sitting with your family or clumps of people from work, make sure you make these things a group activity and teach your children, because no one talks about this stuff. And Todd Sampson is an Australian kind of TV personality who does a lot of bizarre things. However, he links them to science. And he said recently, when I was listening to him speak, that the thing that we are not teaching our children that is really holding them back, even though you want to stab them right now while they're at home with you, precious little darlings, is that we are not teaching them emotional regulation. Now, first of all, not many adults have good capacity for emotional regulation, but we're certainly not teaching it to our children. And it's the most important thing in terms of emotional intelligence that we can teach them. So let me just share with you for a second the bell curve. You would have all heard of the bell curve, and if you've seen me speak before and at the event last year, you would have seen this, but I've got a different version. So here's the bell curve. The bell curve applies to any group of 3 people or more. So you will all be represented, including the people behind the production cameras, on this curve somewhere. So it's roughly split into 3. The people up here are the successful ones. You're all watching this and participating in this event because you want to be more successful. You want to be the best version of yourself. And we'll come back to that in a second. You want to be someone with a growth mindset. In fact, if you're at this end, you do have a growth mindset. You're interested in growing and developing and, you know, like develop your full human potential. That's why COVID is a great experience for people like us who aren't going to give up. These are the people who show up. And that's a phrase, like, let's scrap pivot and replace it with show up. How are you showing up? Yeah, I can be here and say, my business dropped like a stone, and it did. I'm deeply grateful for the Australian government and JobKeeper. And yet, did I give up? Did I lie down and die and go, gee, first time in 35 years, there's been like almost nothing? No, what would be the point of doing that? I show up. I mean, if you think about it, in this digital world, like at the actual live event we did last year, I was the oldest person there by approximately 900 years. And like 12-year-olds in the audience. And so I'm not giving up. 66 to me is very young. And I still have a long time to go and a lot of wisdom to contribute. You know, sometimes 12-year-olds do not have that much wisdom. I'm just learning that. Oh, that's what I was saying to you before. I forgot. So when I was talking about being authentic, I learned, which I didn't know, I was unconscious of, I learned that I had told myself stories, and if we go to best here, we're going to have to flip pages a lot. If you're going to be the best version of yourselves, we need to understand the stories that we're telling ourselves. We are not telling ourselves the truth. We have to unlearn the stories we've been telling ourselves, because most of us have not been telling ourselves what's real. And it usually starts between 0 to 7, and I'll come back to that in a minute. So these are the people who show up. These are the people who are fully living. You know, these are people who are like 96 and doing yoga or, I don't know, having sex 800 times a day. These are, you want to be like this. You don't want to be down this end. And then this group, this mob of people, these are the ones, the vast bulk of the population, mind you, there's a kind of small group, are the people who are just existing. These are the ones who get up and, oh, it's COVID. Well, I'll take my pyjamas off today. Now, I have been guilty of that myself, that question, but I got over that because I decided I'd show up. These are the people who, like, yeah, nobody knows they're alive because they're just like bland and it's, oh, it's Monday, oh, it's Friday. Now, these people down this end, these are the ones who are driven by fear. And the single biggest F word that we have to think about with COVID is the fear. Because it is paralysing people. And fear is way worse virus than COVID will ever be. Fear alerts and lights up your adrenal glands, pours out cortisol, pours out adrenaline, depletes you, destroys your immune system, which then leaves you open to any virus that's around. It doesn't have to be just COVID. So stop with the fear. Stop it. Stop listening to the news. Stop riveting yourself to the latest news thing on a mobile that says 412,000 people were attacked with COVID. Stop it. Be sensible, but don't keep feeding yourself with fear. It's like focus on different things. That's the other F word. I don't know where to put the F word, but I'll put it over here. Look carefully at what you are choosing, there's a C word, choosing to focus on. You can choose, it's a choice you make. You're not just sitting there going, oh look, the TV spontaneously turned on with the news. Or, gosh, my phone suddenly popped up with the entire news article. Just turn off the news app thing. And if it's not really necessary for your business, but if it comes up with a fear-based thing, then don't read it. We're making choices all the time, and choose to focus on the monotonous goodness that exists. Oh, big, here we go. On the monotonous goodness that exists. So, David was talking the other day, David Martin, my mentor, and he was saying that one of the things that we're not doing is looking at goodness and how monotonous it is. So I said, well, what do you mean? And he started to explain it. Well, he's right. How many of you woke up this morning? Oh, that'd be like everyone. And did you wake up limping suddenly? Had your leg dropped off or an arm fallen off during the night? Mostly no. And we wake up, our kidneys are working, our heart's working, our lungs are working, and we might be tired, might have puffy eyes, but, pretty well. Then we get up and then, oh, look, we can walk to the bathroom. There's a plus. And then, perform our bathroom habits, another plus. Your insides are working. And then you go and you have breakfast, etc., etc., etc. And you get through that whole day alive and pretty well, really. And if you choose to focus on what you can learn from the day, if you choose to put effort into showing up, and by the way, the E is for effort, one of the E's, and the effort develops a growth mindset. With children or adults who have a fixed mindset, they got to be fixed because people praised their skills, talents, abilities, and intelligence. They did not praise effort. So if you're a leader, if you have people in your team, if you have children, if you have friends, if you have a human in your life, you want to be praising effort, not skills, not abilities, not talents or intelligence, because praising effort develops a growth mindset. You do not want the fixed mindset down here. And I'll come back to what we were talking about before. But down here also, these are the people who blame. They're victims. That says victims. They make excuses. And these people suck. Pretty much they suck. And you don't want to be around them. These are people, energy suckers. You go out in the day, you're going to show up, even though life is difficult, you decide to turn up there, and then you meet a person and go, hi. Do you hear the news this morning? 912,000 people were tested and 7 were positive. Is terrible. I mean, you want to stab yourself. And you walk away going, oh, geez, I feel crook. Avoid the energy suckers. These people are energy suckers. But the interesting thing is that these people really, truly, they don't suck. They are stuck And the T, oh, where's my pink pen? That's good. The T is the difference that makes the difference. So this is an enormous gift for you. It's kind of like a blinding flash of the obvious, but it really, really matters, and it's down here. It's your T, I-N-G. What do you think it is? It's your, if you're any good at hangman, I'll help you. It's your thinking. Yes, it's your thinking. And most people have stinking thinking. I just thought of that because I saw the S above it. But here's the scary part. In terms of epigenetics, I don't sound like I'm scientific, but I actually am quite like science-based. And what I normally talk about, we'll have to come back to this in a minute, is 4 sciences. I'm not going to do it today, but there's neuroscience, epigenetics, emotional intelligence, and quantum physics. I studied quantum physics when I was 17, so that's eons ago, and I've been studying it ever since. And it's very, very relevant today. And if we go back to thinking, so epigenetics, we'll come back to in a minute, emotional intelligence we're going to finish up with, but the quantum physics ties into something we've already talked about today, and the thinking. Because remember, who you are shouts so loudly, I can't hear what you say. So how authentic you are shows up in one particular way that's very easy for me to demonstrate. So you've all heard of nonverbal communication. So you know that if people go, yeah, I know, this means people are closed off to you. And then if they, cross their legs as well, you go, oh, they're really closed off to you. No, they're not. It's a postural habit. People don't even know they're doing it. And if they cross their legs as well, they're usually busting to have a pee. And so it has nothing to do with you if somebody's sitting like this in front of you. Pretty well. Much more nonverbal communication comes through voice tones, vocal variety, micromuscle, microcolor changes in our faces, and our breathing. And it's as if we all walk around with invisible fish bowls on our heads. And in these fish bowls are sparkly bits. And my sparkly bits and your sparkly bits talk to each other all the time. And if what's coming out of my mouth doesn't match what's coming out of my sparkly bits, guess what you pick up? Always, always sparkly bits. Now, just so you remember this, because humans remember symbols, not words, I am going to wear these. These are the single most important tool anyone will ever teach you about communicating, ever. These are how men, and I won't pick on men, I'll talk about women afterwards, get to be sleaze bags. Like, no one teaches men this, so it's really important. Nobody ever talks about this. But, let's say, well, fellas, no one teaches you, so I'll just share it with you. You meet a guy and he says, my, out of his mouth, what an intelligent, charming, attractive woman you are. And his sparkly bits, I go, oh, great hooters. That's for the Americans. In Australia, it'd be great tits. Now, everybody gets, oh, she said that. Yes, because it's authentic and it's true. And that's what people do. But when I have done this in a room back in the day, before COVID, BC, and we had thousands of men in the room, I'd teach them this, and you could see their faces, the colour would drain out of their faces. I go, oh, they know. Yes, we know, guys, because you cannot hide sparkly bits. Whatever you are saying to yourself inside your head goes straight out your sparkly bits and gets picked up the other side. Even the camera guys are going red. Anyway, now women, we don't stand there looking at a guy go, oh, hello, nudge, nudge, wink, wink. We don't go, whoa, that's a nice thing there, fellas. No, we don't do that. We look at your butt as you walk away, and you don't pick it up as much. And that is true. And if this was a room full of heaps of women, you would hear them laughing hysterically, and some of you are probably snickering at home. And so what is it that you are thinking? What are you saying to yourself inside your head about everything that is going on around you? Be real with yourself. And think about your least favourite person. I don't know, they're walking towards you, again, being human. Can we pan out a bit? And as they're walking towards you, how many of you are looking at them going, fabulous. Here's an opportunity to practice forgiveness, compassion, love, and kindness. No, you are not doing that. No, you are looking at them going, oh, no, not today, not today. Oh, I just haven't got the strength. Make her, just die now, die now. And And they know. You don't know they know, but they know. Like, haven't you ever met anybody and you get a vibe about them? That's the vibe. It's the sparkly bits. Now, tied back to quantum physics, what people don't know is that the human body is a giant bioelectric current, and every organ in the body generates its own electric current. And that all electric currents extend out magnetic fields. So we know that every organ in the body generates a magnetic field that goes out from your physical body. The heart generates a current 60 times more powerful than any other organ in the body, and it generates a field that goes 6 feet out. So, bad news, if you have an angry heart, you are actually interfering with the EEG waves, the brain waves, of people around you. And so, just stop it. Become, this is one of the biggest lessons I can share with you today, become an observer of your thinking. In epigenetics, we know that 95 to 99% of the time, we are literally unconscious of our thoughts. Literally. 95 to 99% of the time, that means 1%, 1 to 4% of the time, you are actually conscious of what you're thinking. And yet, those unconscious thoughts and patterns and stories are running around in our heads, controlling everything, judging everyone. How many times have you walked in the door at night, once upon a time when you could go home from work, and even now when you walk out of the room that now represents workplace, have you not sensed something's wrong? You look around and you go, oh, something's wrong. That's because you pick up sparkly bits, you pick up the vibe, you're picking up the field of the other person. And you say, what's wrong? And they look at you and say, nothing. And you know something's wrong. And you just cannot hide sparkly bits. So who you are shouts so loudly, I can't hear what you say. Learn to become an observer of your thoughts. Learn to become an observer of the stories that you're telling yourself about yourself and about others. And even though I did this last year, I will share it with you again today, because these thoughts become what we know in epigenetics determines your future. And it is not your genes. It is your FS. This is involvement. You're supposed to engage. That's another E word. And do some thinking to work out the word yourself. So the word is beliefs. Your beliefs, the stories you tell yourself about yourself and about others, determine what happens in your life. And so you know this. All of you are in your own businesses, or most of you are. Most of you are interested in keeping whatever business employs you going because it employs you. So what are you telling yourself about COVID, about the business, about your boss, about yourself? How are you as a leader? All these things tie into what you're thinking, which are the stories you tell yourself, which then become the beliefs that determine everything you do. And if we don't start teaching this to our children, then we'll just keep going the way we've been going, except they'll be way more depressed. Mental health issues are skyrocketing with this whole COVID experience. And what stories we're telling ourselves are determining what happens with us. And so, much as I joke about sparkly bits, they are really, really important, and we need to start to honour ourselves and honour others again, and have some kind of reverence for the humanity, and put humanity back into business. Be real, be authentic, be normal, and go round. And instead of looking at people going, oh, no, not today, oh, you suck, oh, you know, and judging people, let's see if we can go back to honouring people. And for those of you who aren't quite sure what that means, the best way I can describe it, I was driving in the States, I used to live in the States, one day, and I was listening to a guy called Gary Smalley, who's a relationship counsellor person. And he was saying couples in relationship are forgetting to honour each other. And the second he said the word honour, you know, the image that came to me was when my nephew, I don't have children, but he's like mine. And this is when he was about 2, and he was a little blonde bullet. And I used to come into my sister's driveway, which is a really long driveway in Sydney. And she used to hate this. And I would yell out, yoo-hoo! And he would come running out of this kitchen, this little blonde bullet, and hurtle towards me with his arms stretched out, going, Manda! Manda! And if you've never had a child do that to you, rent one. Because it is the best feeling in the planet. It's like they look at you and you're the sun, and your heart explodes with joy when they do it. You wait. If you're young enough to have kids, you wait. You have a 2-year-old runs towards you like that. Honestly, it's the best feeling on the planet. And that is honouring. It's when you look at someone and you go, oh, it's you. And if you do this to teenagers, it's brilliant because they hate it. However, deep down, they want you to do it to them. And they're going to look at you and go, oh, 3D loser, 3D. Inside, their hearts are going, woo, yay. It's like everyone wants it, especially in COVID times. Teach this to your children early on. And even if you walk up to some person you've not met before, excuse me, or you don't know well, don't walk up and go, oh, it's you. Because they go, oh, they're a weirdo. And they'll back away from you. But as soon as, go to my YouTube channel, Amanda Gore TV, and it's all free. And pick the clip on honouring and show it to your whole family. And then at least once a week, joke. Walk up to them and go, oh, it's you. Date nights, oh, it's you. Even if you do it as a joke, what happens at a sparkly bit level is that the other person feels honoured. And we need to be honouring each other way more than we have before. And we need to have much more compassion right now. And that comes when you really feel it for yourself as well. So any of you who are single, like me at the moment, just go to a mirror, look into the mirror and go, oh, it's you, and honour yourself. There you go, there's an idea. Oh, that brings me to the other thing that I was going to share with you. Now, lots of people in these times of misery and fear and despair and anguish, and I'm not putting it down, it's really important to feel. Because you've already heard this 20,000 million times with this digital marketing conference. What are you trying to do with all the copy you're writing? What are you trying to do with all the connections and communications you have with them? Guess what? You are trying to appeal to their human, you know, once upon a time I used to go like this, and then somebody said something, so I now have to add that word, letter. So you are appealing to people's feelings because humans run on feelings. Nothing else matters. It's not like if you say, well, I just have to let everybody know that the KPIs for this month are 20% higher than last month, despite the fact we have no business. What do you think? They're going to look at you and go, awesome, awesome leader. No. Think of the best boss you've ever had. It's not going to be someone, oh, they inspired me because they just gave me such great figures and facts that really helped me. No. They made you feel good about yourself. They made you believe in yourself. They helped you feel like you could achieve more. They were interested in you. They wanted you to grow and develop. Everything in a human's life is about feelings. Everything. And that's why Sparkly Bits are so important. Because what you don't know is that what you're saying to yourself inside your head is causing people to pick up something that you're not authentic, that you're not genuine, that there's something not quite right about you, and they don't trust you. And a trust is a feeling. So this is a brilliant strategy for you to bust your stress. And we know people will laugh at me about joy, and even though I wasn't really authentic about a year ago, I was trying really hard to get on the path to be truly authentic. And I was speaking about joy, and look, the stuff I taught was really useful. It was practical. As Lao Tzu said, we teach best what we most need to learn. But I knew that inside I was miserable. I was in a bad marriage, and I was traveling all the time, and I was tired, but I wasn't admitting it. I didn't look at it. So I understand from that perspective how we can be totally exhausted, knowing we're a fraud in some way, but not really knowing how to address it. And then I know some strategies how to cheer us up along the way. And the first one, apart from observing your thinking, which will change your entire life, and thinking about sparkly bits and observing, you know, what you are saying about particularly other people, and starting to honour yourself and honour others in life. This works really well. Because all of us need a bit more resilience right now, or most of us do, except for the businesses who are doing really well. But now you need resilience because you're tired, because you're working so hard. And all of us are needing some kind of lift during the day without alcohol. And I think it's quite acceptable to be drinking alcohol from now onwards, by the way. And it's around joy. So all of us need a joy buddy. And before, you know, you kind of sneer and look around, if you're sitting by yourself, you can have your own joy buddy with yourself. And I'll show you how to do it. It's such a good idea. So, if all of you sitting at home, and don't be sitting there going, nah, I'm not going to do it. Stupid. Not. All of you do this. Just engage. Show up. Who knows? You might unlearn something and relearn something that actually works. If you have children, you may find something that actually helps your children get better grades. And we know that joyful environments have 125% less burnout. And people in a joyful environment, or people who feel joyful, sell 37% more and are 31% more productive. So we might all go, oh, tiff, 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 joy, that's a fun, that'd be nice, but a nice to have, not needed. Yeah, we do need it. So, Joy Buddy, if you hold up your index finger, the one that you don't normally write with, and you get a pen, and if you don't have a pen, it doesn't matter, pretend you've got a pen with the other hand, and you write, this is such a good crew, they're all doing it, you draw a smile with 2 dots on the end of your finger. So if you draw a smile and 2 dots on the end of your finger, that is your Joy Buddy. Now, if you're sitting next to somebody as you're doing this, look at them. Look at the person on one side and then the other. You could look at him and put it on the camera. That'd be fun. Look at them because they will be your Joy Buddies. Make eyeball connection one way, eyeball connection another way. And Joy Buddies are resilience buddies. They're accountability buddies. So the next time you see your Joy Buddy looking a bit miserable, or we actually have a mother and daughter in the studio today, next time either one of them is a bit upset, the other one could just look across and go, hello, and bring the Joy Buddy in like this. And oh look, here they are. On, if in America, if you go, you can get them on my website here, but in America, if you go to Oriental Trading Company, you can get these little critters. And they're called yellow smile face finger puppets. And these are Joy Buddies. Hello, look. And I'll keep him up here so you can have a look at him. You can do astonishing things with these that are really good fun. You can hide them in different places around the house. So somebody will go and look somewhere or open a cupboard and boom, there's a little Joy Buddy. And silly as it sounds, if you want to feel better in these difficult times where it's so easy to focus on fear and you start to focus on a bit more fun, it'll be very interesting to see how that changes your life and your business and your results. Because goodness knows your customers and your clients would love to have a bit more joy in their lives right now and would love to have a little bit more fun. And whether you send these out or you hide these, I don't know, hide them on a web page. Look for the Joy Buddy. It's like, where's Wally? Where's the Joy Buddy? And these Joy Buddies are also very good for yourself. Like if you're sitting in a Zoom meeting, because who doesn't love a good Zoom meeting these days? Do you remember just a few months ago, a phone call was often good enough, but not anymore. Now we're doing Zoom meetings. And you know how boring most of those are. So instead, if you need to like liven yourself up a bit, just look down into your lap where your Joy Buddy would be sitting. You look down and you go, hello. Or you can just bring it up slowly above the table and slowly bring it up into the meeting and then explain to everybody what a Joy Buddy is. Because if you do it in staff meetings or you do it in Zoom meetings, you can lighten the mood, and goodness knows everybody needs to be doing that. So let's go for a moment back to becoming a person who works on themselves, not just in themselves. So become your inner travel, I'm just going to say that because we haven't got time, agent. An inner travel agent. Go looking to find the authentic you, and work not just in your life, but work on your life and on your relationships and on your parenting and on your workness and on your how you show up. And if I go back to 3 core fears, so we'll come back to this in a minute. Remember, you're going to focus on monotonous goodness, because pretty much every moment of your day is good. Your life is usually not crisis after crisis after crisis. It's usually good thing after good thing after good thing. And that, oh look there. Oh, by the way, this, where all these sciences intersect, these create a very special spot. And I call this the joy spot. Stop sniggering, not that one. So the joy spot, your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to become a walking joy spot. Now, I don't care if you do that digitally or you do it analogically, but as a human, just become a walking joy spot so that wherever you go, you leave joy behind you, not misery, which most people do. And so be that small percentage of people who connects and creates a bit of joy in someone's life. I don't care what you sell, add joy to it and it'll sell better. And the 3, oh, by the way, you could also, if you want to add this to your business cards, you can from now on. CJF. Everyone wants to be a C something. CEO, CIO, CTO, CSO, C something. So now you can add the letters CJF. You know what it means? Chief Joy Facilitator. Yes. And I can almost feel through the field in the camera, all of you going, she's insane. She's totally insane. She's not serious about this, is she? Are you kidding? Yes. Remember, you're learning, unlearning, and relearning. If you choose consciously, as opposed to the 95 to 99% of the time you're unconscious, if you choose consciously to see yourself as a CJF, do you think you're going to be a fun person to be around? Do you think you're going to be a fun person for people to do business with, whether it's digital or not? Do you think they're going to feel it in the field of your website? Like, nobody talks about that. We talk about how it looks and the words it says and how it makes people feel. But your website actually has a field. You have a field. I can connect with your field through the camera. And it's not like this. Don't be too scared. But we're all, if you look at quantum physics, we are all entangled. We are never separate. You cannot separate human beings. If you do separate human beings, they die. They get sick. Putting old people in isolated units will kill them. We need to stay connected. So we're in the field. Be the CJF and generate a field of joy around you. Because there are 3 core fears, and we haven't got that much time left. So there are 3 core fears that destroy the field, that destroy the essence of who you are. Because there's one other diagram. I'll come back to the 3 core fears here, but I love this diagram. It's new. You won't have seen it before. So we have here, in this box, your essence. Who you really are. Your authentic essence. Because the second you were conceived, the egg was here, the sperm came in. The second you were conceived, we know in electron microscopy, a flash of light comes in. It doesn't go out, it comes in. You are an astonishing being of light. You are magnificent. You are amazing. And all of you, I bet, are sitting there, except for a small few, going, yeah, right, not me. No, she doesn't mean me. Yes, you. You are an astonishing being of light. Your core essence is you. No one else has that same essence. The second you were conceived, there was a unique energy. I said unique, that sounds odd. Unique energy, and this essence that's only you, and you have a gift for the world. This is the authentic you. Finding this, as I can show you with like experience, is somewhat difficult for a lot of people, particularly me. But I'm getting there. I keep showing up every day, even though it's been extremely difficult the last 6 weeks even, and I keep showing up, and I'm getting closer. And I know that when I doubled my income in front of people, so we don't know what's going to happen with camera, but I know what happened when I was on stage. was that I became much more of the essence of me, as opposed to the beliefs and the stories I told myself that were my reality. I taught myself this. I learned that this was who I was, and it's not. And both of these have the capacity to create what you emanate. What do you emanate? This is not my final question for you, but what do you emanate? Are you someone that people walk away from feeling uplifted, feeling positive, feeling listened to, feeling heard, feeling that they just had a heart-to-heart connection with somebody who actually cared about them, or made a difference in their lives, or this was like a significant thing, or lifted their spirits, or helped them laugh? Is that what you emanate? Do you emanate love? And, you know, some of you are going to go, oh, yeah, now she's Mother Teresa. No! These are just things we never talk about. We never talk to our children about it. I didn't talk about this until, like, I only learnt this 6 weeks ago. But I see the results. I was open to learning. I was very open to unlearning because I knew what I learned before wasn't working in my life. And I relearned. And I'm now experiencing it and seeing the results of it. And I'm far more conscious of what I emanate, because our beliefs, our behaviors and our choices come from either this or this. And in terms of your beliefs from your essence, I want to share with you the 3 core fears that become these and block this and shut you down. And from this, you create your life. You are the creator of your life. Everything you see around you is a reflection of what you have been projecting out. And it's always there for you to learn a lesson. So all of us are on lifelong journeys. Excuse me. And if we go to the 3 core fears that tie into this, I think I'm allergic to these pens. Every time I start using them, I start to cough. You can tell this is live. And so the 3 core fears, guys. Everybody has one or more, and I got the trifecta, which is how I know about them. By the way, these are embedded by the time we're 7, right? And if I go back to here for a second, if we look, can you see a little itty bitty thing? This is a very clear camera, you'll be able to see it. So, like, look close. This is you when you're conceived, your source essence. It's like you're born with a source code, S-O-U-R-C-E, not tomato sauce. And here's your source code. And then the 0 to 7 years come in. And this is when the core fears that I'm about to share with you get embedded. And your source code, which is absolutely your pure essence and the pure energy you came in with, becomes corrupted. And don't complain to anybody that this is very small and we couldn't see it. Everybody's doing a really great job. They've had a very hard day. They've tried to make it technically perfect for you. So would you just focus on the goodness? And I'm telling, I know it's little. Show up, get over it. You can I'm explaining to you what it is. And then every other aspect of your life, every relationship you have, every job you have, everything is run on the corrupted code. So everything I'm talking about today is about how you tear away the corrupted code and you get to the authentic essence of who you truly are, the magnificent and the gorgeous creature that you are, with a big purpose to learn on life. So here are the 3 core fears. Most women get this: I am not worth loving. And most men get, I am not good enough. Must stop breathing those pens in. I'm here to share with you, you are absolutely worth loving. You are absolutely worth loving, and you are absolutely good enough. It doesn't mean we can't grow and develop and be an even better version, but you are absolutely worth loving because you are a human, and you are absolutely good enough because you are a human. And you have a bucket load more skills at the end of this today for you to grow and develop and embrace yourself and have compassion for yourself and understand that you didn't know this stuff before, like I didn't know this stuff before. I didn't just say I wasn't worth loving. I told myself I was worthless when I was 2. Because I grew up in India, I had an alcoholic father, and my mother was away for a year. I didn't know that till after she died, when I was about 2. And an Indian guy came along and he decided to find out if little white baby girls were different from little black baby girls and did things that he shouldn't have done. Well, at 2, do I know what's going on? No. Did I remember any of it? No. I couldn't remember a thing about my childhood. I thought it was normal. Until you got to 54 and found out from other people, oh, they remembered bucket loads about their childhood. I went, oh, do you? And so I started looking and I began to learn about myself and had to unlearn, and I'm relearning now, literally now as we go. So there's still hope for you because most of you are way younger than I am. So you are absolutely worth loving and you are absolutely good enough. The second core fear, and please, if you have children, will you please, please, please talk to your children about these? I don't care how old they are. If they're under 7, great. You can maybe unembed these fears because you didn't necessarily embed them as a parent. We, as toddlers, tell ourselves these. And these become the stories that become the beliefs that destroy the essence. The essence is always there, but it coats it in that corrupted code, that corrupts the code. Second core fear, I am unsafe in some way. Very common if you have an alcoholic parent or a parent with mental health issues or somebody who's another thing like that. And so I can't remember what it is. There's another category. But anyway, most of us are safe most of the time. There is no need to have tremendous fear. If we know ourselves, I mean, I don't know how many times the Bible says know thyself. And in emotional intelligence, the number one thing is know yourself. Everything I've talked about today is about knowing who you really are. Not the persona, not the show that you put on for everybody else, but it's opening yourself up and being vulnerable and being authentic and showing up as you. And you watch everything transform in your life. Stay tuned. I'm at that point right now. And then the third core fear is separation. I know this is messy if you're a very visual person, but just keep breathing. Oh, did I write down breathing? I did. Breathing is a very good way to bust stress. Didn't I write down breathing? I think I did. Let me look. Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, and here's B again, beliefs. Just so you remember. And we got one more G to go through, and then we're done. So these are the core fears. Please talk to your children, please. Please talk to each other if you're in a relationship. Please talk to each other if you're in a family or you have friends. Talk about these fears. Nobody talks about them, and yet they corrupt almost every single essence out there, your source code, what you're really here to do. And it's not that hard to talk about these. It is hard to dig into them and deal with them, but it's not that hard to start the conversation. So go for it. I got the trifecta. It's taken me a long time to get through them. So you've probably only got 1 or 2, so it'll be easier for you. And if we go back to this G, this is like secret weapon number 17 we've covered today, 17 secret weapons. But it's brilliant, and it is a way to reframe everything. And if you want to look at COVID as the big reset, this is one of the core tools that you can use. So, and everybody can do it very easily. If you all go like this, so it's just like index, and then put your hands, I love this crew, look, they're all doing, they're so cute. Put them over your eyes like this. These are your gratitude glasses. And you know, you can take them off for a second. But seriously, if you're sitting there and you go, nah, I'm not doing it, stupid, that's dumb. Why should I do that? I'm sitting in front of my computer. Oh, where's our bell curve? Oh, yeah, there, down this end, suck, not good. You want to be someone who goes, oh, I'll embrace that. This is something, I might feel stupid, but you're sitting in front of your computer by yourself. Who's judging you apart from you? So put them on. These are your gratitude glasses. And if you choose consciously to look at everything that happens to you through your gratitude glass, and I'm very grateful to the production team here, if you choose to look at your things through gratitude glasses, everything changes. And I like these because they're free and they're with you all the time. But if you have to, get a set of these. And you can get them on our website. You can get them from a dollar store. I don't care what sort of glasses. Just get them and call them gratitude glasses. And if you have a day that's not a good day, I mean, put them beside your bed. And when you wake up in the morning, if it's a tough time, just put them on. And if you have a fight with your partner, oh, this is awesome. If you have a fight with your partner, go to bed, and instead of snarling at them, get naked and put these on, and you just stare at them until you feel gratitude. Do not go to sleep until you feel gratitude for them. And watch how that turns your relationships around. Seriously, gratitude's a choice. You can find things for which to be grateful in absolutely everything that happens to you. The last 6 months, I was going to tell you this either, 6 weeks. So in January, whenever that was, I fell in love. I got divorced 3 years ago. I should have added that. I sorted my life out, and now we're best friends, and we should never have gotten married, and things are much better. But I'm, 66, it's like impossible for women to fall in love. So I figure it's not going to happen. I was perfectly content with my life, and so I fell in love, didn't I? And I didn't know it was going to happen. It was awesome. So I had 6 months of astonishing life force like I've never felt before, because remember, I've been working on myself for the last 4 years and working hard on myself, doing a lot of the things I've shared with you today. And excuse me. And so this happened. Yes, well, 6 weeks ago, it would appear that the timing on the relationship wasn't quite right. And so I'm hoping it's just in limbo, but I'm not sure. But the end result of the story that I just tried to couch in a way that's probably not true is that I was brokenhearted. And truly, I've no other words for it, brokenhearted. But if we're looking at it with gratitude glasses, not only did I actually get an experience in this life, this long, many, many years of relationships, of feeling fully alive and really feeling a life force surging through me and feeling like I was 20, better than I ever felt when I was 20. And I had a devastatingly difficult period where I actually learned to feel, because I had closed my feelings down for such a long time. And I'm deeply grateful for the whole experience. And I'm choosing to do that, A, because I am, and B, I could sob for another 2 years and be droning about how bad life is and how I've lost, the man of my dreams. But that doesn't get anybody anywhere. So I'm showing up, and I'm choosing, excuse me, I'm choosing to, I didn't even sniff those pens. I'm choosing to focus on gratitude. But I want to finish up with a story that ties us right back into who you are makes a difference. What's the difference that makes the difference? It's who you are. And the fact that I am willing to share with you my story and be vulnerable, it's not like I'm going to tell everybody, but it's relevant right now because of the things I've been sharing with you. And I'm not particularly happy that it's all happened, but I'm grateful. Because I am very, very different now. And I have dealt with the I'm not good enough, I'm the worthlessness. I have dealt with that as well. And without this experience, I would never have dived in that deep, even though I was really willing to work on myself. It took the pain of this event to bring out what's going to be the best in me. Is the pain of the COVID experience going to bring out the best in you? Because it's your choice. You can choose to look at it with gratitude. That says gratitude, I haven't got time. And you can choose to be your essence. You can choose to look at the stories you're telling yourself about yourself. I am not worthless, I have discovered. I do matter, I've discovered. I've also discovered that I can love again, and it is possible. And I've discovered that I didn't feel for about 60 years or maybe more, 64 years. And it was very painful feeling all the feelings that I haven't felt. But I feel different now, and I'm aware of them, and I'm not closed down. And when you're vulnerable with other people, by the way, you connect way, way, way better at a heart level. And so what I'm going to be emanating is very different, and the same will happen with you. And in terms of emanating, this is a story that first appeared in Chicken Soup for the Soul, the very first Chicken Soup for the Soul book. And it's by a woman called Helise Bridges. And by the way, it's a true story. And it's not a I'm going to jump out of my skin joy thing to finish with, but it's a profound thing to finish with, because every single one of us can transform somebody else's life if we do some of the things we've talked about here, and we become authentic, and we're willing to be vulnerable, and we're willing to open our hearts, and we're willing to be careful about what we project to other people, and we think about what we emanate and the field that exists around us. A teacher in New York decided to honour each of her seniors in school, by the way, it's a true story, by telling them the difference they each made. She called each student to the front of the class, one at a time. First, she told each of them how they had made a difference to the class and to her. Then she presented each of them with a blue ribbon that says, "Who I am makes a difference." And by the way, you can buy these blue ribbons on Helice's website. If you Google "Who I Am Makes a Difference," Helice, H-E-L-I-C-E Bridges, you can buy them. Afterwards, the teacher decided to do a class project to see what kind of impact recognition would have on a community. She gave each of the students 3 more ribbons, and she instructed them to go out and spread this acknowledgement ceremony. Then they were to follow up on the results, see who honoured whom, it's you, and report back to the class in a week. One of the boys in the class went to a junior executive in a nearby company and honoured him for helping him with his career planning. He gave him a blue ribbon, and he said, "We're doing a class project on recognition, and we'd like you to go and find someone else to honour, give them a blue ribbon, and then ask them to give the extra blue ribbon to someone else that they would honour. And then would you come back to me and let me know what happened?" Later that day, the junior executive went to see his boss, who'd been noted by a lot of people as a kind of grouchy guy. And he sat his boss down and said he deeply admired him for being a creative genius. And the boss seemed very surprised. The junior executive asked him if he would accept the gift of the blue ribbon, and would he give him permission to put it on his shirt above his heart. And the surprised boss said, "Well, sure." And then he said, "Would you take this extra blue ribbon, and would you pass it on by honouring someone else? Because the young boy who first gave it to me is doing a project at school on recognition and passing it through the community. So we're trying to find out how it affects people." That night, the boss came home to his 14-year-old son and sat him down, and he said, "The most incredible thing happened to me today. I was in my office, and one of the junior executives came in and told me he admired me and gave me a blue ribbon for being a creative genius. Imagine, he thinks I'm a creative genius. And then he put on this blue ribbon that says 'Who I Am Makes a Difference' on my jacket above my heart. And he gave me an extra ribbon and asked me to find someone else to honour. And as I was driving home tonight, I started thinking about whom I would honour with this ribbon. And I thought about you. I want to honour you. My days are really hectic, and when I come home, I don't pay a lot of attention to you. Sometimes I scream at you for not getting good enough grades in school, or for your bedroom being a mess. But somehow tonight, I just wanted to sit here and, well, let you know that you do make a difference to me. Besides your mother, you are the most important person in my life. You're a great kid, and I love you." The startled boy started to sob, and he couldn't stop crying. His whole body shook. He looked up at his father and said through his tears, "Dad, earlier tonight I sat in my room and I wrote a letter to you and Mum explaining why I'd killed myself and asking you to forgive me. I was going to commit suicide tonight after you were asleep. I just didn't think that you cared at all. The letter's upstairs, and I don't think I need it after all." His father walked upstairs, this is a true story, and found a heartfelt letter full of anguish and pain. The envelope was addressed Mum and Dad. The boss went back to work a changed man. He was no longer a grouch, but made sure to let all his employees know that they made a difference. The junior executive helped several other young people with career planning and never forgot to let them know that they made a difference in his life and to his boss's son. And the young boy and his classmates learned a valuable lesson. Who you are does make a difference. You are astonishing. You are amazing. You are an incredible being of light. You are magnificent. That is your essence. Go forth and emanate that beautiful essence. And thank you all for listening. And it's like, oh,